What's going on, guys? Flynn1 here with the Game Tenants Podcast, giving you guys a little message. I've been a host of the Game Tenants Podcast since we started in October 2015, and as a lot of people out there know, real life can become a really big struggle, and kind of in that point in my life where I have a lot going on and I don't have the time to dedicate to the podcast as I would like, and I don't want the podcast to suffer. Church has been an incredible co-host, and we've just built this really cool community, and it's not fair to you guys that I just keep missing out and you keep wondering, when's Flynn gonna be back? When's Flynn gonna be back? So this is an announcement to let you guys know I am stepping down from my role as host for the Game Tenants. I'm gonna be pursuing more endeavors in my life, trying to get some stuff worked out, especially if you guys have one watching my channel or anything like that. You guys know I have a friend in the hospital, and if you guys want to check out any of that stuff, go check out SirFlynn1 on YouTube or check out my Twitter at SirFlynn1. Hopefully they'll still be linked on the podcast page. If not, there you go. Or you can find it on Church's page. I think he still has to be linked. But it's just been a real struggle, guys, and I really need to focus on getting my life in order. So I will be stepping down. But what's cool is another really good host will be taking my place. Corpse Plug Gaming. You guys have heard him from the last couple podcasts. That it's been really awesome, and I like the guy. I didn't get to hang out with him too much last time, but I think he'd be a really good suit. Him and Church work really well together, and I think they can produce a great podcast for you guys. And the cool thing is I will be coming back on the show every now and then as a guest host. I'm not leaving it completely in terms of never coming back online, but I'm going to be focusing on myself. But thank you guys so much for the support and everything you've done for us since the beginning of the podcast. I've met some amazing people. Got to actually meet one of my idols, Robert Rockner, and so you got to meet some really cool people from the community, like the Old Ass Retro Gamer and Southern Star Gamer, and just sorry if I forgot any names, but it's just been an incredible experience, and I thank you guys so much for everything you guys have done. And Church, keep the podcast going, buddy. You got this strong, man, and I do apologize for missing out on so many casts before. Hope you guys enjoy the newest episode, and if you guys want to hit me up, just hit me up on Twitter or YouTube, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show. You're listening to the Game Tenants Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Game Tenants Podcast, the failed adventures of two gamers in the quest for Gamecast stardom. This is episode 32, and before jumping into the podcast, I just wanted to respond to SirFlynn's one message, as you heard, just due to life circumstances and all that thing. He is stepping down as co-host, and Flynn, if you're listening, appreciate all that you've contributed to this podcast, and as you said, this is not the end. As anybody who continues to listen, you will hear him time to time as he is available and can join us on the podcast. But also, as he said, Corpse Flood Gaming is stepping up and taking over as co-host on the podcast. So if you have listened to previous episodes, you should be well familiar with him. But Corpse Flood, you want to go ahead and just introduce yourself again one last time? Take it away.
You betcha. Hey guys, as Church said, I'm Corpse Flood from Corpse Flood Gaming, or just Jason, either one. I'm glad to be filling some pretty big shoes, more full time now. We're gonna really miss SirFlynn1 here, but he's welcome back anytime, and I'll try to do his spot justice and put on an entertaining show.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, as always, you can get a hold of SirFlynn1 on Twitter at SirFlynn1, or look him up on YouTube. Really recommend showing some support. As small content creators, we always need it, and just send him a thanks for all that he's provided with the podcast. He's put a lot of work into this, and it's sad to see him go, but like I said, it is not over. So with that said, then we will jump right into it. So as per usual, we'll start off just talking about what we've been up to over the last couple weeks since the last episode. So Jason, you want to go ahead and what have you been up to lately?
So much work.
Yeah.
Too much work, as a matter of fact. I've managed to get a couple of videos up regardless of that. Worked on a group video, collaboration with the old ass retro gamer, entitled "The Worst Movie Games We've Played." That video's not up yet. It should be up pretty soon, but that's one of them. I got a couple new of my unboxing videos up. Working on some pickup videos, so things are rolling more with the YouTube channel.
Totally.
So that's good. I'm gonna try and be more consistent, like I stated before. But with the work and the video making, it doesn't really leave any time for playing some new games. So that's a very big bummer to me.
Yeah.
As obviously being on a gaming podcast, I'm very enthusiastic about games.
Right. Yeah, and you gotta leave some time for the family too.
Yes, you bet.
Well, you should. You don't have to, but you should.
I definitely have to. I should have.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, they're missing Dad. I come right from one job and go right to the other job, and sometimes I'm hopefully home by bedtime to at least tuck them in. But yeah, we've gotten a few days where we get to spend some time together and also maybe play a little bit of games. But it's working towards I'm actually getting a new job in the near future here, so that'll actually free up a lot of time for everything. It's a bigger, better job than I've got right now, but I've been at my current job at Walmart for almost 8 years, and it's definitely time to move on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss knowing right when the new games are on sale, having kind of that insider edge on finding stuff.
Totally.
And but it's time to move on. I also like the discount. It's great, but
what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing games that I can put down at the drop of a hat. So some stuff like the Telltale Batman. I've been trying to finish that off. Excellent game. I've really been enjoying it. I picked up a few 3DS games on the cheap, so I've been playing a bit of those. I got Yokai Watch went on clearance. So did Metroid Prime Federation Force. Both games I wasn't going to pay near the new price, but for the price they went for, I jumped at them.
Yeah, Federation Force would have to be pretty low for me to buy it.
Yes, it was very low, like under $10 low. So
excellent.
It's an okay game. It's just like I would say this game is like when the important members of a band leave, but the band keeps going with the same name.
Oh, sure.
You're like, they're an alright band. Why don't they just change their name and do their own thing?
Right.
That's what I would say is this game. It's actually pretty decent game, but it's not a Metroid.
Sure.
Game. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that will relate to another game we'll talk about later too.
It's a bit of a bummer, but that being said, leaving Walmart soon, it's actually kind of put a rush on me grabbing a Switch. I wasn't planning to get a Switch till around Christmas time when the Mario Odyssey comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But with the discount, I might as well pick it up while I can. And, it's welcome in my collection. So it's there's more games coming out for it all the time. Like I'll obviously be picking up Zelda again, Mario Kart 8 most likely. I want to import the I Am Setsuna.
Oh yeah.
Physical copy and Binding of Isaac.
Sure. Yep.
And then later this month, Disgaea 5 Complete comes out. I'll probably snag that. So there's already a good handful of games to be playing on it.
Have you played any of the other Disgaea games?
Yes, I have. I think almost all of them actually.
Okay.
Except the first one. I don't think I have the first one, but that's actually a pretty cheap game. I should jump on that. But
I had the chance to pick up 2 of them for the PlayStation 3, and I passed on it just because I wasn't like I've heard good things, but I've never heard any of my friends actually play the games and say that I should totally like check them out.
Yeah, they're like a strategy style,
like, kind of like tactics,
like a tactics or a Fire Emblem kind of deal. So it's up to if you're into that kind of game, just like any game, I guess. But I got the triple pack for the PS3, and
sure.
I got 2 for the PS2. I think I thought I had 4 somewhere. I'm not sure if I do or not though. But yeah, I've liked all the ones I've played so far, so
Sweet.
why not? Why not? It's just another game for the Switch, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Quests are coming out, I think later this year or early next year. So that's a game I'll probably pick up on the Switch as opposed to the PS4. But I'll get the 3DS one because it's a totally different one too.
Sure.
But yeah, that's my immediate plans for game buying are. So I've been kind of saving up a bit to grab that before I bid Walmart adieu.
Awesome.
Besides that, it's just been work, and a course pertaining to my new job. So it's just about in the clear now, so I can start playing some games.
Awesome.
Which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Games and family.
I hear you.
Good balance of games and family, though.
Yeah. So I guess on my end of things, not a whole lot of gaming as of recent, unfortunately.
What sad lives we lead.
Yeah, like, geez. Like, it's like all I read about, all I talk about, and I don't even get to do it.
Right.
But no, it's been a lot of work on videos. So I didn't realize it, but in April I put out the most amount of videos in 1 month I've ever put out. I had 9 videos. Not all of them are like full-blown videos. Like 2 of them are kind of like, well, a few of them are really short, and a couple of them are just like game footage and stuff. But still, the fact that I did 9 videos, and I'm still like trying to crank out some other videos. Yeah, it's been a lot of time working on that. I think since the last podcast, I put out my MGC pickup video. So if you wanted to see the random stuff that I picked up at Midwest Gaming Classic, check that out. And I showed my successful run on the Tower Challenge in Spectre Knight, which
that was badass.
It's not much, but I was like, you know what, this was a lot of work. Like, it took me like a ton of tries.
Wasn't only 2% of the people have done it or something? 2%?
At the time when I finished, it was 2% of people have completed it on Steam, which has a huge player base. So I was like, I think I can kind of upload this and kind of get like a little bragging rights sort of thing. Is basically essentially what it ended up being.
Look at a thing I did. Have you accomplished? It's like a challenge to anyone else to try.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely looking forward to the upcoming weeks and days to the big change going on.
Mm-hmm.
To ramp into some more gaming exploits. I'm getting games that are coming out of the walls, like Alien, and I'm not putting the time into them that I need to. Especially with the new releases, this year is hitting hard.
Yeah, they're definitely coming. Try to keep up the best I can.
I've got a stack of new releases that I'm like, and they're all good 30-hour at least games, 30 to 80 hours. I'm like, where's all the good 3-hour games?
Yeah. So of course I'm still working on Mass Effect Andromeda when I can kind of squeeze in the extra time. I haven't really been doing like hour sessions. Like usually if I have like 2 hours, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and play some Mass Effect.
Yeah. But that was almost like a tease.
Yeah, really. And it feels like unproductive in a game like that where you can do like a mission or a side quest or something, or you can run around the central hub area and talk to everybody, and that's it, kind of stuff.
Yeah, just do the little side stuff before you're about to go on an actual mission, and then just go, okay, that's it. It's basically like when you sleep, like, the first little while you sleep until you enter REM sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's like that, but with games. I haven't entered REM gaming yet. I've not got to the real content.
Yeah. So
that's how I feel too. Like if I'll only get an hour, I won't even bother.
Yeah.
I can get at least 2-3 hours, and I'm like, all right, now we're talking.
Some games, like if it's like more of a pick up and play. Like with when I was playing through Spectre Knight, that one is a game I could totally just crank out a level in like 20, 30 minutes, and okay, I'm gonna go do what I gotta do. But besides Mass Effect, I gave in to the temptation of neat character skins. So if anybody has been following Overwatch at all, they have been doing some events in another Blizzard game called Heroes of the Storm, which is basically like a light MOBA. It's more casual. Actually, it's for a MOBA, I would say it's a pretty damn good game. Like if your major complaint with games like League of Legends or Dota 2 are the games are too long, it's too involved, like I don't understand like all the items and stuff, like Heroes of the Storm is for you. You can play a game in like 10-15 minutes, no crazy character builds and armors and stuff to worry about. It's like very basic, but it's actually a really fun game. But for the second time now, and they've kind of restarted it, they have been offering some character Overwatch skins by playing certain like what they're calling quests in Heroes of the Storm, which is essentially just playing 5 rounds with a friend, which they have actually pretty good like looking for a group sort of deal. So there was a what I've been calling the pro skins, because only the pros have them, which is the stupidest thing ever, but I don't know, that's what I call them. But there's Pro Genji skin and there's a Pro Diva skin. And of course, I had to get that Pro Diva skin, which is stupid because I'm not even playing Overwatch right now. But I was like, what the hell?
But you do like it a lot, so you will go back to it.
Yeah, I'll definitely go back to it. So played a little bit of that. I played through the latest Henshin Engine demo that I was given a copy of at MGC. So I'm working on my updated little preview video that I'm going to be putting out. But other than that, not, just normal life stuff, picking up some games here and there, pre-ordering more stuff than I should be.
I'm terrible at being your no, you don't need it right now. Just
right. Yeah,
I'm terrible support. I should try harder.
Yeah,
I'm like, but there's only 2,000 copies of that, man. Get it.
So for anybody listening, every once in a while, Jason and I will message each other and say, talk me out of buying this, or I shouldn't buy this. And then like, we'll try to be like, no, maybe hang out, hold off, wait for it's cheaper, or go for it, or something like that.
Or cons. We basically try to give me a reason not to buy this because I really, really want to. I don't need to, but I really, really want to.
Right.
And sometimes we're effective. Sometimes we're like, come on, man, you got to get that. So,
yeah.
Sometimes I think I fail more often because I'm just like, but the games, though.
Right. And I'm trying to look it up again real quick, but there is another company that is stepping into the like digital, basically limited run thing. Besides Limited Run, and some people might have heard of them before. They're called Special Reserve Games, and a few months back, or maybe it was last year, it wasn't horribly long time ago, but they did a limited run release of Shadow Warrior 2 for... I don't know if they did a console version. I should probably remember that, but I know there was a PC version, and just because I hadn't actually played the Shadow Warrior remake, I played a little bit of original Shadow Warrior. I didn't end up picking that up. I think it's actually still available.
Cool.
But they're doing a limited run of a game called Strafe, which is... basically, they're just shooting for being kind of like a retro first-person shooter game, like I would say more like Quake or Unreal. Kind of more
with that
fast-paced thing. If you haven't seen a trailer for this game, you got to check out this game's trailers, because they made some really awesome trailers. I mean, they show some of the game footage, but it's like the trailer itself is just it's super 90s, and it's like way over the top, and they're
Yeah.
awesome.
Over the Top's always good.
Yeah,
Like
fantastic.
one of my favorite games of last gen was a download-only game, and it was Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh yes,
An absolutely over-the-top version of the game. It played on the same engine.
yeah,
But
I love that
it
game.
was 90% Predator and Terminator references, even in the guns. I was just like, oh my god, this game is like my love. And it even was the voice of Kyle Reese from Terminator 1 to add on to it. And
Yeah.
it starts out like Predator. I'm like, oh my god, this is just the game I needed. And it was overall too quick.
Yeah, totally. It was. Yeah, that game was a lot of fun. And for anybody who might have not played it, you don't actually need Far Cry to get Blood Dragon. You can just get Blood Dragon standalone.
Yeah, it's excellent. I'd highly recommend it. I'm sure it's under $10.
Oh, it's got to be.
It's probably on sale, and anytime there's a publisher sale or anything. It's amazing game. If you like Terminator, if you like Predator, and it's super 80s themed, it's all things great. There needs to be like a full length game like that.
Totally.
Coming from the guy who just said, "Where's all the good 3-4 hour games?"
Yeah. Right.
That one's a good probably 8-hour game.
Yeah. It had a good length. I think if they went longer with it, it probably would have got a little tired.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If it was much shorter, it would have been like, oh, it's over too quick sort of thing. I think it was really, really well balanced.
Yeah, it was very, very well done. I just kind of bought it going, I liked Far Cry 3, whatever, and then I didn't realize what I was getting into, and I fell in love immediately with it.
Yeah. So that is pretty much what's been going on with me. So I think then we can probably jump into some news topics.
Well,
so
first up, I think it's May 4th, and you know what that means? Star Wars!
May the 4th be with you.
Yes. On that topic, we got Star Wars Battlefront 2 was announced about a week ago, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, I checked out the trailer when it was first posted, even though I still haven't played any of the Battlefront games, but
You have no excuse now.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you again for that. And the games look incredible. Like, it's crazy. Like, looking at some of the other like current gen shooter games and then looking at Battlefront, like how like almost like photorealistic the game looks at times. It's insane.
Yeah, like for sure the older ones are the superior games. But that being said, I find the last release that EA put out was still a pretty excellent game for what you got.
Yeah.
But it just didn't feel like a full game compared to what they put out.
Well, it wasn't a full game. It was just laden with DLC and
Yeah, it was straight only online. There was a lot of things missing. No space battles, no single player, no playing against bots very much. They kind of patched that in later. I actually ended up getting the one that came with the season pass for about $10, like above what I sold my original copy for. And thinking, oh, cool, they added the offline play. The offline play was so limited; it was like to like one mode and per map, and it was really a big disappointment because that's what got me end up playing it. And the offline, it was limited only to like the stock maps that come with the game, so the DLC maps weren't even doable.
Yeah, man,
But
I swear.
But this new game has a lot of promise, I find. It doesn't just stick to the original trilogy like the first one did. This one goes through all eras. It goes through the Clone Wars era, it goes through the original trilogy era, and it goes through the current, like Force Awakens era. So I think that's pretty cool because that's
a lot of content they can draw from.
Yeah, and this one's actually got a story mode, which looks pretty extensive. I mean, in the story mode in the old games was basically just like a very, very like small like briefing, and then you just doing a regular map. And if you won, you could progress. If you lost, you had to do it again.
Yeah.
Kind of like when an Unreal Tournament tries to have a story. It's basically you just playing matches, but it's the campaign. And there's nothing wrong with that because that was awesome for that game. Another thing people complained about was like the heroes they chose and the lack of heroes. That's one thing that honestly didn't bug me too much because even in the original, like the original one didn't have heroes and the second one did have one, so you could be like Boba Fett and Obi-Wan and whatever. But what I actually liked about Battlefront was that it was all just like regular nameless soldiers and stormtroopers just fighting out battles. That's what I liked about it. It wasn't, it wasn't tied into what Luke was up to or what.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's just how I felt about it anyway.
I could actually see them, like, just with the fact that there's so many like notable characters in the Star Wars franchise, like they could totally make a Star Wars MOBA like Dota or League of Legends.
Anytime, especially from like all the extended universe and all the animated series they have out now. Like the Clone Wars introduced so many characters that weren't in the movies even.
Yeah.
Or very, very briefly touched upon in the movies. So.
Yeah. And we'll just have to see as they put out more information. Hopefully, I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of what EA does because they.
Me either, which is why I swore when I saw that they picked up the exclusive license.
Yeah, but then again, the much like Mass Effect Andromeda, like the developers are still they're passionate about what they're doing. They're putting their all into a product, and they're doing the best they can with EA putting their grubby mitts.
Well, basically, they're hurry up and get it out. Hurry up and get it out. We'll fix it later.
Yeah.
We'll just put that on in a map pack or a DLC.
Right.
One thing that is good, though, speaking of Mass Effect and being owned by EA, is BioWare. So there's a very big chance of them putting out possibly another Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
And I have heard a few little tidbits about them having something going on behind closed doors.
Yep.
Pertaining to that.
Of a game being worked on, but I wonder how much of the controversy from Mass Effect is going to carry over to a possible Star Wars project by BioWare, because they, even though I really like the game, I think it's a great game, I think it's a solid game, regardless of what I think, the mass audience has some ridiculous beef with Mass Effect Andromeda, and I think it's going to reflect. I mean, then again, Star Wars is Star Wars, and if you look at popular Star Wars games, like Knights of the Old Republic is probably one of the biggest games for a Star Wars game.
That and Battlefront, and they're basically guaranteed money, at least for the first title.
So I think they'll probably do it regardless, but it'd be interesting to see how that controversy follows them and how much it stained their reputation, because because they were pretty revered until that a few little slip ups with certain games that, and even with those games I didn't agree with the complaints, but then again I'm
like which games like Dragon Age 2?
I had no complaints with Dragon Age 2, honestly. It wasn't Origins, and Origins is one of my all-time favorite games. Epic, grand scale thing, but the fact that the story of Dragon Age 2 was condensed into some, conflicts that were happening within a city, I think actually my only complaint that they really boasted about Dragon Age 2 is that a lot of the areas, there's going to be so many different kinds of areas, they're going to be randomly generated with different layouts and stuff, and they totally were not. Every cave you went into, it was just pretty much exactly the same as the other one I just played, but it's reversed.
Exactly, or they're there was a doorway there, now there's a giant rock, and you can actually see where the doorway is still there.
Right.
That's definitely my major issue. I was it took me right out of the exploring aspect. When I play a game like that, I'm a huge explorer. I go and try to find everything. You know, I'm very completionist when it comes to games like that because I love exploring. That's what takes me forever to play games like Dragon Age or Mass Effect or really any RPG. If I can go somewhere, I'm going to go over there and see what's up.
Yeah.
Skyrim is the most ADD game for me. Or Fallout or something. They're like, hey, go here. And you're like, okay. And you're like, wait, there's something on my map nearby, and you'll run that way. Oh, there's another thing. You just got to discover everything.
Right. But regardless of that, like, for me, really, Dragon Age is about the story. Like, I'm not excusing, like, gameplay faults. But same with Mass Effect. Like, you know, I'm really in it for, you know, the story and the characters and, you know, fun gameplay. Like, I mean, regardless, I mean, Dragon Age 2's gameplay was pretty much exactly the same as Dragon Age 1. A lot of people seem to think it was massively different. I know I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe the console version didn't have the full like battle system that they had in Origins and that the PC had, where you could like pause the battle and select your moves and unpause it.
No, you could.
So
it was pretty good. Like, if you had to like use a flask or whatever,
sure,
you could select it. It was pretty good, and I think they improved it on the second one.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more fast-paced. Yeah. But I mean, for those who didn't want the fast-paced, I mean, you could still pause it just like you could in Dragon Age Origins. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
it seemed more fluid, I would say.
Yeah.
I found in Dragon Age Origins, I found you'd like hit with your random like your generic attack while waiting for your selected extra moves to recharge all the time, and I found that made the combat really boring after a while. But I still really loved the game. Mm-hmm. But I found in Dragon Age 2, it was like your base attacks were more dynamic, so it was like you still felt like you were doing something while waiting for those to recharge. Whereas in the first one, I felt like this attack's doing nothing. It's just kind of occupying you until I can actually hurt you.
Yeah, for sure. So, I guess besides Battlefront, if anybody hasn't seen, they're already doing some teasers for the episode 8 Star Wars Last Jedi.
Ooh.
Which is it going to be a Empire Strikes Back remake?
Ooh.
We'll have to wait and see.
I hope there's just not another giant space station of some sort they have to blow up. I don't think they
more Death
they don't
Stars.
Have to do that. Yeah, they don't need to do that every time.
No more Death Stars.
I loved Force Awakens, don't get me wrong, but that was the one part where I was like, can they just damage it one time? Do they have to absolutely destroy it every time?
Right.
Because I don't know. That's one part I didn't like about it, but it was a pretty solid movie, I thought, besides that.
Yeah. So I think moving on then to next topic here is just something that I just don't have a whole lot to say about it, but I thought it was kind of worth saying because I know there's a lot of people out there who have been hoping and praying and waiting in anticipation for mighty Valve, to do something with one of their game franchises. Of course, right. Valve is known for Half-Life and Portal and Left 4 Dead, and now it seems like they only care about Dota 2, kind of TF2, that they're still supporting Team Fortress 2, so that's definitely a cool thing. It's a cool game, but, everybody knows the Half-Life kind of deal where they said they were going to make episodic Half-Life games for Half-Life 2, and they did episode 1 and they did episode 2, and they never did episode 3. And in the recent months, things have been looking kind of grim.
Pretty grim.
For a while, I wanted to talk about a few months ago, Gabe Newell did an AMA on Reddit and Ask Me Anything, and there were some people who were able to ask some questions kind of in the vein of like what's going on with Half-Life or what's going on with game development with you guys. And of course, as always, he dances around the questions and doesn't give any straight answers, which I don't understand why it's so hard to just, share some information. If you're going to disappoint your fans, just get it over with instead of dragging it out for years and years and years.
Yeah, he's the absolute opposite of like that Peter Molyneux dude.
Yeah.
Like, where he boasts about all the shit he's gonna do, and then he just never does it, or it's half-assed.
Yeah.
And this guy just never boasts about anything, and then he'll just plop something out, and you're like, "Wow, that was amazing. Can we have more of that?"
Yeah.
Perhaps.
But of course, for anybody who might be as big of a kind of a, I guess, Valve fanboy, although they've kind of shaken my faith in the last few years, got some pretty big hits. Last year, Eric Wolpaw left Valve, and he was one of the writers or developers for Half-Life 2 and episodes. And then Mark Laidlaw left, and he played a really big role in development of the Valve games. And now officially the last remaining Half-Life series writer has left, and that's Chet Falizek. So basically at this point, as far as writers and kind of the leaders, creators of Half-Life are now gone. And that doesn't sit well with me because...
that doesn't bode well for the series.
Right. And one of the, I guess, kind of interesting things from the Gabe Newell AMA is basically what Valve does now, because they have more money than they could possibly know what to do with. They're just raking it in from Steam and microtransactions from TF2 and Dota 2. But basically, and I think it's cool for the people working at Valve that they can do this, but it kind of sucks for the rest of us, is basically they don't work on projects.
They don't even have to do that. They don't need that money. They got their own, but it would be nice if they would.
Yeah, and basically how they operate these days is whatever the developers want to work on, that's what they're going to work on. Like, they wanted to work on Dota 2 and get Dota 2 going, so they did that. And then they wanted to kind of work on Steam a little bit, so they did that. And so there's no roadmap to any game development as far as we know. We keep getting the trickles of rumors of Half-Life 3 confirmed, or rumors of Left 4 Dead 3 being in development, but
they always seem to be around April 1st.
But for the most part, it seems like Valve is kind of like full on working on VR tech, virtual reality. To what extent, I don't know. Of course, they did do a VR tech demo that was like based in the Portal universe, kind of, but it was just to show off that Steam can do VR stuff, because Steam actually has VR support. But
well, what better way to hype it than to show stuff about a game that everyone wants, but they're not actually working on?
Right.
Or that we know of, at least.
So yeah, I don't. My faith is really kind of dwindling at this point. Valve doesn't seem like they care too much about these legendary game franchises that people will like. It's another one of those situations. Shut up and take my money. But I guess when they have enough money, I guess they're one of the few people that are like, okay, we got enough money, we're going to just do whatever the hell we want.
No, we're good. Can't even close my wallet as it is.
So, kind of sad, I think. I know I've seen some people in some of these discussions about the writers leaving, spewing garbage about Half-Life games being overrated and Portal being overrated. Those people can fuck off, because those games are amazing, and
those games were amazing. Yes,
they're so innovative, and yeah, it kind of breaks my heart.
Well, even though they don't need the money, they figure that for their fans, they would, for getting them there, they would put it out even.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Or just get some community people together who are enthusiastic about it and let them put it out.
Right. But then I guess moving on to another one of my all-time favorite companies, Blizzard, of course, Overwatch, StarCraft, Diablo, yada yada, so on and so forth. Really interesting little story there. Well, why don't you take this one away?
Yeah, what the gentleman who found, I believe he ordered a box of just random Blizzard memorabilia or like swag.
Yeah, off of eBay.
And then he got the box, and it was a disc labeled StarCraft Gold Edition or
Gold Master Source Code.
Yeah, Gold Master Source Code.
Which essentially was the original development version of StarCraft, the original source code.
Yeah, it's like basically finding the master tape of a music album.
Yeah.
So they were very much wanting it back. He wasn't sure what he should do. People were trying to convince him to rip it and put it out online for free.
Yep.
Blizzard was like, please do not do that. There's a lot of sensitive information on there.
The guy actually contacted a lawyer too to get some legal advice about it.
Yeah. So, and then he decided to do the right thing and send it to Blizzard. And I guess they sent him a just big box of like Overwatch and Diablo, I believe, swag. And
keyboard, mechanical keyboard, like optical mouse, some like nice headphones, and some plushies, and
and he figured that was the end of it. But then I guess Blizzard contacted him again and was like, "Hey, you ever heard of BlizzCon?" He's like, "Well, obviously, but I can't. There's no way at all I can go." And they're like, "Well, we want to fly you out here, all expenses paid, and take you out for drinks, and just live it up for doing us such a big solid and giving that back to us."
Freaking awesome!
Yeah, that's classy.
Yeah, like totally didn't. They didn't have to do that at all. They could have just taken the disc, and been like, or threatened, we'll sue the shit out of you because that's intellectual property and we got trade secrets in there. Yeah,
exactly. So it's pretty good on both their halves. So he was an upstanding gentleman, so they were upstanding themselves. That's a happy ending.
And just another checkbox in the long list of reasons why I absolutely love Blizzard as a company.
Hells yeah.
Yeah.
Nintendo follow suit.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Nintendo, they're just going to cease and desist your shit and tell you to...
No matter what you do. Oh, you love it? We don't want your love.
Where, actually, I got to give Capcom a little credit on that because the guys working on the Resident Evil 2 remake that will be coming out someday were actually working on a Resident Evil 2 remake on their own independently, and Capcom was like, "Oh, hey, that's really cool. Why don't you come work for us?"
That's the best resume I can think of. Hey, look, you're that interested that you're doing it for free? How about do it for $15?
Something. Yeah,
exactly like that. I think Nintendo should be doing the same thing. Like, oh man, look at, check out the quality of the work before being like cease and desist.
But at the same time, that can open a whole can of worms because now everybody who can make a decent product will try to make something and be like, hire me, Nintendo, and
I'm sure they get that anyway.
Yeah.
Really, how else are you gonna get hired at Nintendo?
Right.
He's gonna walk in there and be like, I like games. Hired on the spot. You're going to walk in and tell them all the games you've beat. I think the best kind of resume for a company of any kind of gaming company would be to show interest in their work and show what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So, so then I guess next thing on the docket here is the 2DS XL.
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo.
Yeah, speaking of.
They're keeping their DS line alive by putting out the 2DS XL, which looks more like a 3DS. It closes like a clamshell, like the rest of the DS library, and it looks actually pretty awesome. I've been holding out wanting to get a new 3DS for a while, but only one or two games require it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have one of the games, and I really want to play Xenoblade Chronicles, but I haven't been able to just pull the trigger on getting a new 3DS. I was hoping to kind of find one for cheap somewhere on Facebook or something, but
what are
might be my options.
What are the 3DS XL is going for? Do you know?
In Canada, they're going for like about 240. So I bet you probably around 199, 189 probably in the States.
Sure. And then the 2DS, at least in the US, is going to be selling for 150.
Yes, so that's pretty awesome. That's probably about 189 here. So that's awesome as far as I'm concerned. The only thing I found the 2DS, the original, was good for was for like small kids because they just snap the hinge on a regular DS.
Sure. Did you learn that through anecdotal evidence or?
No, I just could foresee that, so that's why I've always kept mine out of reach. My daughters play with one of my extra 3DSs I got for pretty cheap. If it gets wrecked, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. But I usually supervise them. They're pretty good with their electronic stuff, and they don't play it too often. But I can just see it easily being a thing like a kid loses their attention and forgets it's in their lap, drops it, snaps it, gets mad at it. But so far, there's been nothing like that at my house. It's well supervised when my kids are gaming because I'm right in their proud dad style, like, oh, look, my kids playing games. Even if it is just like Nintendogs or something lame.
They're somewhere.
They're gaming.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of people are pretty excited. Really kind of out of nowhere. I wonder if it's any sort of like trying to appease or do damage control over the NES Classic controversy.
Well, I'm not sure. I just think a lot of people, I think they're realizing not many people use the 3D function. I mean, even on my own, like I like it, but I don't use it very often. I use it more in like maybe cutscenes or something like this would look cool in 3D. I'll snap it on real quick, but I rarely leave it on. It just kind of messes with your eyes after a while.
And I know a lot of people were wondering if the Switch was going to completely get rid of Nintendo's like handheld market. But my question would be, do you think they will actually do any other handhelds after the 2DS XL?
I don't believe so. I don't see it going very far. I mean, like the Switch itself is a handheld.
Right.
That docks. It's basically like a...
And considering it's not a whole lot more than what the like new 3DS was going for.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are giving Nintendo too much credit, too much faith, and continuing to support legacy products as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they're putting out good games, I don't care.
Yeah.
That's why, usually I hold off on buying a new system until it's at least 2 years old. So I know there's a good 30 at least games that I want. I gotta have, and then I buy into it. This will probably be the closest to a launch I've ever bought a system, would be the Switch. I was thinking at first of buying it on launch, but then their launch lineup was pretty lackluster besides Zelda. Right. And I was also planning to pick it up on the Wii U even if I did get a Switch.
Yeah.
So I was holding off for Mario in November or December, whenever they put that out. But like I said, with the discount, I might as well snatch it up now. If I'm able to get it. If not, I will hold out and wait till around Christmas or wait till some kind of crazy looking edition, probably a Zelda one.
Sure.
Comes out that I gotta get. But I mean, you can always get the skin, so it's not that big of a deal, really.
Right.
But I love my Nintendo, but I don't also defend their stupidity.
That's why I like it.
Yeah.
So then next thing we got here is there has been a teaser trailer, or actually kind of like a full trailer released for Code Vein, which is anybody who might have not have heard, a few weeks ago there was kind of like a marketing thing by Bandai Namco using like a hashtag prepare to dine, and everyone was like, ooh, is this going to be the next Dark Souls kind of game? And then they showed some screenshots, and it looked like it was going to be some sort of kind of like anime-ish action game. And then they finally put out the trailer, and it looks essentially like, in many ways, anime Dark Souls.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be on quite the scale, like the open worldness of it.
Depth.
it looks like it'll be more of a slightly more linear approach.
A little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, I think
More
it looks
accessible.
really awesome. Yeah. So, but a lot of the combat looks very Soulsy, very, tactical. You can't just run in and slash. Looks like you'll just get messed up.
Yeah, and it has kind of like a cool look to it. Like I'm a sucker for the grim dark stuff.
Yeah.
Edgy, evil, whatever kind of deal.
Skulls and
yeah, you can't go wrong.
Generally pretty metal things.
Yeah, pretty metal. Exactly. So
like metal anime. Wow.
For anybody who has not checked that out and thinks that it might sound interesting, it's code VEIN, VEIN, or just look up like Prepare to Dine, which I don't really know too much about the concept, but it looks like there's going to be some possibly interesting mechanics.
Yeah, they've been putting out some really cool stuff lately. They're quickly becoming one I just keep an eye on. Like, it's them putting it out. They're becoming like a new and same with Koei Tecmo. I find this gen's been putting out some pretty quality stuff.
Yeah,
it kind of flies under the radar, but it looks so interesting. You gotta snatch it up and try it.
For sure. Yeah, definitely makes me pay attention a little bit more, I would say, if I see Bandai Namco.
For sure. Yeah, they're pretty quality stuff, and they haven't let me down any times that I can recall. I might not have realized a crappy game came out from them, but from what I can remember, they're pretty quality.
Yeah. So then I guess we got a couple other sort of game announcements. I don't know a whole lot. I've just watched the trailer. So you might know a little bit more possibly, but Call of Duty World at War 2.
Yeah, World War II. I'm not sure if it's World at War II.
Yeah, you're right. World War II.
Yeah, World War II, but them returning to what made them big in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Call of Duty guy.
Mm-hmm.
I generally kind of almost ignore it as being overhyped. It's basic. My general rule for Call of Duty now is I will not pay more than $10 for one of the games because I know they're in not short supply and I'll be able to find it on Facebook or from someone just getting rid of their stuff for like $10 or less.
Absolutely.
I've had some of them even just given to me, or when I upgraded my Xbox One to the 1 terabyte Xbox One when I bought the Fallout bundle, I got Black Ops 3 for free with it as a flyer deal from Walmart. So that's how I got that. But besides that, I generally enjoy the campaigns and I find the multiplayer is all right. But I generally, as far as my army guy shooters, Battlefield is my choice because it feels more like a war, not like paintball. I find Call of Duty feels very paintball-y with their small.
Call of Duty is a little bit more like
closed
arena-ish.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely have to. I gotta imagine that Surflin1 will be checking out Call of Duty World War II.
I'd say most definitely.
So we'll definitely have to get his thoughts on that at some point. And for the Call of Duty games, I'd played, old, like going way back to the beginning. Like I'd played little bits of the old Call of Duty games, but actually World at War was the first Call of Duty game. Like I actually played the campaign start to finish. Mm-hmm. And for people who might not remember, it was actually the first like Call of Duty Zombies. I forget, it was like
the very first Nazi zombies.
Yeah. And unfortunately, when I tried to play it, which I don't know if I was just playing it at the wrong times or maybe there wasn't a lot of people actually playing it on PC because I had the PC version. I actually got it free with a graphics card that I bought.
Okay, cool.
I struggled to find people to play the game with, so I didn't get to play a whole lot of Nazi zombies. And then, of course, like the whole series, regular Call of Duty and the zombies mode like blew up from there.
Yeah, I mean, Call of Duty 2 was a huge.
Yes.
A huge. I mean, they've always been pretty huge, but Call of Duty 2 was a big, huge step, and like it really brought them out to people knowing about them, and like it was a huge PC one. It was the first one that kind of was imagined on the consoles almost as good as the PC.
Right.
And then
Besides Halo.
Yeah. Although, I mean, as far as like Call of Duty games, it was the first one that like came to the consoles and was like an actual decent port, like because there was like Big Red one and stuff from the first one, but Call of Duty 2 came out on like the Xbox 360, and I think it was a pretty solid port because I loved that game. And then of course Modern Warfare came out, and then it blew up extremely huge, and then everybody was all over it. And from there, that's when they pretty much stopped doing the World War II thing, except for with World at War was their last one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went more into the modern day, and then obviously into the future, which people obviously did not care for. They want more realistic, grounded in reality war. And I think that's why they're returning to form with their World War II thing. And it might sound like I don't like the Call of Duty games. I actually really do like them. But I find that just the overhyping of them makes me kind of put them on the back burner.
Yeah.
I generally don't even like try the multiplayer that much anymore. I'll play it for a few rounds, or if my brother's over, I'll play it with him. But generally, I just go, oh yeah, same as the other ones. Oh, they added a couple new things. And zombies was one thing that I could never get into as well. I wasn't in a shortage of people playing. My friends list was about probably 75% anytime a new one comes out with zombies on it. Mm-hmm. But every time I jumped in, it was with people who do nothing but play zombies.
Sure.
So I'd be like, all right, I'm pretty quick at adapting. I just kind of want to know, like, what's the plan? And they were just running around left and right, not saying anything. And I'm just like, cool.
Oh, lame.
I'm just wondering where's like a decent gun I can grab that's not just a handgun.
Right.
Because I noticed you guys already got a bunch of cool guns. Where is that gun? So I'm like, I don't need a lot. You don't need to hold my hand. Just kind of let me know what the hell we're doing. And I found that just kind of turned me off of it. They're like, oh yeah, just stand here. And I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm not Natalia from Goldeneye. You don't need to escort me, but I do.
That's.
I don't feel like someone's little brother. Is like I don't really generally like that feeling. So
definitely a mode best play with friends who want to have fun and communicate, and your
communication is key in a mode like that. Any kind of survival mode.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I preferred the Gears of War Horde mode over that.
Sure.
And I played that extensively.
Yes.
But yeah. Back on topic, Call of Duty World War II, I think, is the first one I've been excited about since probably Black Ops, maybe. I was kind of excited, but I can't remember when I've actually been excited for. I think World at War was probably when I was really excited for.
Mm-hmm.
But World War II was good. Because, I mean, for the longest time, the market was just flooded with World War II games.
Yes.
But now there's like barely anything coming out, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I love World War II." So
yeah,
so it's good to see them come back to it.
For sure, totally. So then the other game that actually just came out or comes out tomorrow is Prey, and I think I have some unique thoughts on it.
Let's hear them.
But so do you want to just, for anybody who is not familiar with Prey, you just want to kind of tell people what original Prey was? And
it was this really out of nowhere game. Actually, it's nothing like it looked like on the back of the box. It's really hard to describe even.
So
but it was a
id Software, creators of Doom.
Doom and Quake and Wolfenstein, I think too, right? Yeah.
Yep. Basically, kind of put a very ahead of its time game out. I mentioned it before, where Prey was the first game, as far as I know, to really use a portal system, much like the game Portal. They did some pretty cool anti-gravity stuff. Of course, one of the big talking points, and there's actually more to it than the lead character just being Native American. Like, there's actually a lot of story tied into that, the whole death mechanic and
the whole the whole game, it kind of hits you out of left side.
Yeah.
Left field. It just like it starts off really kind of generic-y, and you're like, oh, this is a budget title, and all of a sudden you're just like in space on this like giant ship.
You're abducted, yeah.
Yeah, and then it just goes from there, and you're like, wow, comes completely out of nowhere, and it just got some really amazing moments and elements in it that.
Yeah, and absolutely fantastic game for anybody who digs like really cool single player first person games. Like, definitely play Prey. If you like Doom, if you like Wolfenstein, if you like Half-Life, like, definitely got to check out Prey. Like, it's a must play.
It was cool, and then there was like some really weird parts where you're like, huh, I don't really get it, and they were really kind of set. It seemed like they were setting up for a second one.
Yeah,
and then it was in development hell for years.
Yeah,
and they were like,
really
it's still coming, we promise.
Looked very different, but it looked really cool. It was still, in the same universe. Basically, what the premise was is in original Prey, there's a segment with an airplane, and basically in Prey 2, you were a guy on this airplane that ends up getting crash lands on the into the alien ship or whatever, and ends up at this like new planet, and you end up becoming a bounty hunter and kind of building off of that. So not, a direct sequel like traditionally, but, using the lore and kind of the world and then running with it. And it looked so damn cool. Pretty much everybody who I knew who liked Prey was really excited for Prey 2.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't have a lot of friends who knew about it, but like the friends who did were like, this game's awesome. How is not everybody talking about or playing this?
Right.
It was just really close to the beginning of the 360 coming out. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, it got overlooked. Maybe there just wasn't very many copies of it. But yeah, I only knew about 2 other people who played it, and they were like, amazing game.
Yeah. So then, sadly, development hell, as it usually goes, Prey 2 ended up getting canceled. And with it getting canceled, that was it. Completely scrapped it. And then sometime later, maybe it was a year later, 2 years later, I can't remember.
About a year later, yeah. It was finally announced as canned, probably way after it did get canned, because someone just asked, and they're like, right, we've decided not to go on with this project. You're like, could have told us.
Yeah, but then like a year or so after that, then all of a sudden, of course, it was acquired by Bethesda, and we got an announcement for new Prey, just called Prey, not Prey 2, not whatever. It was called Prey, and then they were showing off some early teasers and trailers, and gameplay looked like completely different mechanics, like where's aliens and where's spaceships and where's Native Americans, and yeah, so that's kind of where some of my initial complaints coming into play with the new Prey. So if you watch trailers, I think the game looks really damn cool, actually.
Oh,
really liking what I'm saying.
Well, I think they felt the need to reboot it because, like I said, it was like an unknown title almost. It's generally not well known by anybody. Like I said, I only knew 2 people, and you know how many people I knew that had a 360? It was kind of insane that I didn't know like a ton of people who had played it.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a reboot. I think they were making this game, and they're like, okay, we need to make this game sell. What if we slap this name on that people have been anticipating for years and years and years? That's, just from everything that I've seen from gameplay, this and that, usually a reboot will have some connections, like in some way or form, a nod to the original idea.
It's just like a reimagining completely. Like a total reboot, holding on to maybe some small things. I guess I got to play it. We got to play it, I guess, to that's really be able to pass full judgment on it. But that's what it seems like so far.
Yeah. So new Prey comes out Friday, May 5th. Most likely you'll listen to this podcast after it is released. But I hope the game is really damn cool. I think, like I said, the trailers look really neat. It looks like a pretty cool horror game with some interesting mechanics and kind of different ideas going into it.
It looks cool in its own right, and I'm not going to pick it up just because the Prey name's on it. I'm actually picking it up eventually because it looks cool on its own. Like, I'll kind of reserve judgment on how it stands up to the original one.
Right. And for me, just out of spite, because of the whole using the Prey name, canceling Prey 2, which everybody wanted, I mean, obviously, they had funding because now we have Prey. Like, why couldn't they have reworked Prey 2 or something? But because of that, this is a game that I will not buy until it's got a good discount on it.
It's probably, I think it was some kind of, their imagination was too much for what the hardware could handle. Wasn't that their final excuse for this console versions?
Possibly, but and that goes into another thing that I have lots of issue with these days is that the PC gamers, we get screwed. We don't get the innovation anymore because for some reason developers don't believe there's money in PC gaming. When you look at the sales numbers on Steam, they rival, if not outmatch, tons and tons of console games. Yeah. And it's just this disconnect from a consumer base. And, when a company turns their back on, a huge fan base that's been supporting them for years and years, it just...
Especially with someone who's essentially at least half of their audience.
And a lot of these big it used to be that the innovation happened on the PC and then made its way to the consoles because PC gaming has the better tech.
Yeah, we get the watered down version basically.
And I don't know why that's a problem. And now it's actually reversed. You'll get the console game, and then eventually they port it to the PC, and they do a shit job of porting it. They'll be glitched out, controls suck. Original Dark Souls, when it got ported, absolutely unplayable on a PC. And at the time, controller support wasn't super easy thing to do, so you couldn't just hook up a controller and run a third-party program to get it working. It just didn't work. Or Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah, that was a snafu.
It happens so much, and it's mind-boggling.
I really don't understand that myself, even being basically a strictly console gamer. I mean, I don't understand why PC seems to be an afterthought on games that are also coming out on a console a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe there's some information out there that I just don't know about. I know initially the big backlash against PC gaming was piracy. And honestly, I don't ever think piracy was as big as a problem as they claimed it to be. Because a lot of people that were pirating games wouldn't have been buying those games to begin with. So, for example, I have a love-hate relationship with Cliff Bleszinski.
Yeah.
Well known for, of course, the Gears of War series, but in particular, Bulletstorm. He entirely blames the non-success of Bulletstorm on PC gaming piracy.
Yeah, because wasn't it 90% of it people who owned it on PC stole it?
No, it just wasn't that great of a game.
Yeah, I liked it, but
I mean, I thought it was fun.
It was a score attack, basically. But
yeah, and you can't blame a game that people aren't super excited for on it not being successful. And then that's why they didn't port any of the other Gears of War games to PC.
Yeah, that was pretty lame of them.
And
missed out on some really good games. I love Gears.
Yeah. Well,
One of my all-time favorites.
fortunately, I have them on the Xbox. I just need to.
Oh, do you?
Time
Haven't
to
seen
play.
you online.
Yeah. Well, I have them. I just haven't gotten to them.
I gotta bug you. One
Yeah.
of these days we'll play some Horde mode or something.
Absolutely.
Blast through it on Insane.
So, yeah. Any other thoughts on Prey?
I do intend to get it. Probably sooner rather than later.
Mm.
I mean, we'll see. Like I said, I've got a pretty big pile of the newer games sneaking up on me, and I don't know how, because I'm currently kind of in like a hiatus, I would almost say, from collecting. And I was like,
Are you?
only if it's dirt cheap. I'm trying to be. I keep telling myself I am.
Yeah,
and
the
then
same thing.
And I'm like, but it's so cheap. Like it's like a quarter of the price they were asking for it right now. Oh, I'll snatch it up.
Yeah.
And then just, they just keep sneaking up on me. I don't know where these games come from. I swear people just drop them off. It's like fan mail, but I don't have any fans.
Yeah.
So that's not a feasible story.
Like I always say, it's a good problem to have. As long as you're paying your bills, supporting yourself, getting your responsibilities done, and you do the whole collecting thing, like
That stuff comes
go
first.
for it.
And like I said, just about everything I have is that I've picked up since I've been on my hiatus has been a huge discount over what it's supposed to be, except for maybe 4 games, and that's Tales of Berseria. Zelda was even a little bit on sale compared to the new price.
Yeah, totally. Like for the most part, for me, like only time I'm paying full price for a game is
today.
I'm playing it today, or of course, there's always the collector's edition crap that I keep buying.
I'm able to hold off on stuff when it's online, I find, pretty easily. And but when it's right in my face, I have more of a trouble with it. Like, there's only 2 copies left. It's only like $20. They're gonna go if I don't get it right now. So that's my problem I have. Like, if it's right there.
Self-control.
Yeah. Sometimes I have none, but
yeah,
that's why we try to support each other, because I think you have a lot of the same problem, and we're just a terrible support group for each other.
Yeah. I think that's the community, the game collecting community as a whole.
Yeah, and being in these game groups is not helping. You've seen all these awesome pickups other people make, and you're like, I'll just get one. Just one.
Yeah. So I guess with that, we can probably start looking at some upcoming games. More games to buy.
That I have to.
Yeah. Have to buy. So let's just kind of start jumping into things. So we're going to look at upcoming games in the next couple weeks.
That Strafe game you were just talking about comes out on the 9th, so
yes,
you'll be seeing that pretty soon.
Yep. I think I'm not 100%, but I think the PS4 limited, the signature reserve or whatever might be a little later. Special
reserve, isn't it? Yeah.
Special reserve, yes. Thank you. But no, that's coming out here on the 9th. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm very curious because it's not out on any platform yet. It's not out on Steam, so there's not a whole lot of information about it, and there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, it's a gamble, but it's
fortunately,
not that expensive.
Just like Limited Run, when they make it available for pre-order, it's $25 here in the U.S. anyways, so pretty cheap. They had a really neat PC collector's edition, and kind of just dragging my feet trying to not give them all my money. By the time I finally
for help, and I didn't help at all.
But fortunately, there was a delay there, so unfortunately, I missed out on the PC collector's edition. But fortunately, I didn't spend the extra money to buy the PC.
Fortunate for your wallet, unfortunate for your shelf and collection.
But I still get the PS4 version, so
And I do not.
that.
So there's that.
And then
Injustice 2 is out in about a week and a half.
yes, Injustice 2.
I was a very big fan of the first one. Did you have a chance to play it?
I didn't. I have a coworker that actually plays the mobile version.
Okay, yeah. I had a couple of coworkers playing that too, but my phone was too crap. So I just didn't bother. I tried it, and then I was like, it's so slow that my phone is hot, and I'm seeing the choppiest animation, so I'll just not. But I am very excited for the second one. I had the collector's edition of the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting story. I took an awning off of my living room window on my old house, and I was just getting ready to throw it out.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I run the garden center at Walmart, which has a shed, and every time it rains, the water would just go straight into the shed, and we'd have to shut down our till. And I was like, we really need like an awning or some kind of overhang here. And my boss was like, oh man, that's not going to happen. Like, that's just going to cost too much. And I was like, well, how about I have an awning that'll totally fit this that I'm willing to donate to the store if the store is willing to donate some games to me. And he goes, yeah, sure, man. So I ended up getting the Injustice 1 Collector's Edition, and I can't remember a couple other cheaper games. I think there was one other new game in there, and then like a dump bin cheap game.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked out for me because that was essentially garbage. Like, it was sitting on my back deck for probably 6 months waiting for me to have something to bring to the dump, and then it was going in with it. So
Sure.
you can recycle pieces of your house for games sometimes. Now I sound like I have a real problem. Like, I'm just like pulling siding off going, oh, does somebody have Mass Effect or something? They would trade me for this vintage.
Definitely. That's like meth heads ripping out copper wire and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I just envisioned. I'm like, oh my god, I just sounded like the worst kind of addict. And maybe I am. But it was ripped off ahead of time without the intention.
There you go.
I turned my junk into treasure, so that's pretty awesome.
I think that's like pawn shop slogan,
Yeah, you bet. And then coming up just shortly after that, the Friday after, looks like we got the new Fire Emblem coming out on 3DS. A little bit of controversy going on with that right now. I don't know if you saw, but the game itself being like a $39 game,
Mm-hmm.
They announced a $45 season pass kind of thing for it, and a lot of people are really up in arms about it. Apparently,
The season pass costs more than the game.
Yep.
I hadn't actually heard about that.
Yeah, I actually just read that this morning. I think, yeah, $45. It's gonna be something like 9 packs or something, but still, that's just unheard of. Maybe they should have just done what they did with the last Fire Emblem game, where they put out the 2 different games.
Yeah, just shut different games.
Just do it.
But they figure they can cut down manufacturing costs and make more money.
Just silly.
Oh my god.
Oh, there's a funny thing I'm seeing here. I thought Nintendo announced that the last Wii U game to come out would be Breath of the Wild. But I'm seeing Darksiders War Mastered Edition is coming out on May 23rd, apparently.
Okay.
So I guess they are still making a few. They must have been far along in production. They're like, all right, we'll give them one more.
Sure.
Same day that Disgaea 5 Complete for the Switch, I was mentioning wanting to get.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be my goal. I'll try to get it before Disgaea comes out. Hopefully my Walmart gets it. Or maybe I should just pre-order it on Amazon.
Yeah. And if you get Prime one of these days.
I do have Prime.
Oh, there you go.
I just, like I said, I've been holding back on ordering stuff, and then I go, why don't I just order it? I'll save 20%.
Yep.
So
nice little immediate discount, and that I try to take full advantage of that when I do get new games.
I definitely will be doing that more when I leave Walmart. I'm pretty much exclusively going to pretty much buy my games on Amazon.
Oh, sure, yeah, makes
somewhere
sense.
Cheaper, because I save about 18% now at Walmart.
Mm.
So it's not really that big of a deal if I miss out on something. Like I have pre-ordered a few things.
Sure.
I got the discount on Zelda when I bought it, stuff like that. But going forward, I'm going to be definitely because I know Amazon's going to have it. Whereas being a small town local Walmart, some games come in and surprise me. Like I'm surprised we even got Persona 5.
Right.
Whereas like, oh yeah, we're going to get, we'll get the new Call of Duty, obviously, but you never know. Like the third-party titles that are not as big are always a gamble. They didn't used to be, but it seems like more and more now they're a gamble.
Right.
Anything else cool coming up that you're looking forward to?
Well, I think anything else will be stuff we'll probably talk about on the next episode. So, other than some ports and things like that, but whoop-de-doo ports.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm excited for as of now. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to look too much into the future.
I'm actually pretty happy that there's not like a ton of stuff that I'm like super stoked about coming out right now because I need more time to play all the games I already have.
Yeah, right. It's usually just going, oh, I don't have enough money to buy all these, but now it's
I don't have enough time.
I have a lot of them, but I still seem to not have any time because
Yeah.
I'm earning the money to afford it, but I don't have the time to play it. that old problem, the age-old problem of affording games versus playing them.
Yeah. So then at this point, I think we'll transition into our usual closing section. So of course we're getting to the end of the podcast here, so we will just kind of briefly talk about any gaming plans or things coming up in the next couple weeks besides game releases. So anything notable you think you got coming up in a couple weeks here?
Well, I'm working on a few more videos I want to get out right away here. I want to try to, like I said, keep with the consistency. So I'm working on about 4 or 5 different video ideas right now. I am going to be working towards, like I said, stuff's going to be slowing down a bit. I'll have more time to actually play games. So that's high on my priority list.
Sure.
The weather's getting nice, so I want to get outside, do some stuff with my family, bring them to the park, and all that fun stuff. But I think my next big thing is the Switch. I'm going to try and hold off on any games until I pick up that Switch, because I don't even know my end date for Walmart yet, so I need to
sure
keep that in mind. Use my discount while I got it.
Right.
That's about it for me. What all you got going on coming up?
Well, it probably will be after anybody listens to this podcast, but there is a Minnesota Retro Gamer Society meetup this weekend, so I'm pretty stoked for that. It's at a location that, as far as I know, there hasn't been a meetup at before. I haven't been to this specific location, the Games & Go in Roseville, Minnesota. I've been to their other location, which...
Yeah, you brought me to that one, didn't you? The other one?
No, the other one, you're thinking of Toyrific.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
Or We Got Game. Or High Score.
High Score is what I'm thinking of. High Score.
But, no, it should be a good time. It sounds like there is another local member that I've kind of been talking to here and there. He has a YouTube channel that I wasn't aware of. And apparently he used to have his own game store in the cities that I had heard the name before, but I think I learned about the store after they closed.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, so, but of course, looking forward to seeing, what turns up at this meetup, because always got to pick up some games.
You got to pick me up too, don't forget.
Yes.
I'll be here with my sneakers on. It's only a 5.5 hour drive.
Right. But other than that, I am, like I mentioned, I'm working on my kind of Henshin Engine, like updated preview video, just for funsies. They didn't ask me to do anything like that, but it was something that I said I was interested in doing, and fortunately got the demo. So yeah, I'm happy to oblige.
Yeah, you got a lot on your plate as far as videos.
Yeah, still got a few other videos to get done here.
Getting a backlog of videos and a backlog of video games.
Yes.
You're a busy man.
And hopefully I can, squeeze in a lot more Mass Effect Andromeda, because, I'm really enjoying the game, but, jumping in from like something like Tales of Berseria 2, Mass Effect, which are both very long games. It's like I just want to play a game that's not super long, and games are
like a palate cleanser almost.
Yes. And yeah, there's just so many games that like I'm dying to play right now. Like I've said before, Nier Automata and Resident Evil 7 and so many of these like little indie, like digital, physical games that are getting released. Like, I need to play some more games. But then at the same time, I haven't really talked about it too much in the podcast, and I'm not sure what the time frame is looking at this point, but I am currently in the process of it's kind of a weird deal, but basically buying a townhouse. So
yeah, I'm super excited to see this game room upgrade.
Oh, I can't wait. So basically, just for anybody listening, is my fiance and her brother own the townhouse that we live in, and my fiance and I are buying the brother out, and then he's going to get his own place, and we can kind of shift some rooms around, and my current game room is going to be moved to the other side of basically our lower level of the townhouse, which has carpet, non-wood grain walls, and better lighting, and better layout of space. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. Especially, I can add some more shelves and maybe come up with some interesting ideas for putting up some of the many, many statues that I have in all these collector's editions that I spend all this extra money on.
You gotta get them glass cases.
Yeah,
the dust off, or keep a air compressor nearby.
Right. Well, actually, not only do I use an air filter or air purifier, but I have this really neat. And for anybody, if you haven't heard of one of these, I'd really recommend checking them out online. There's a company. They're kind of like more like not, I wouldn't say like IT necessarily in mind, but they make a lot of products that are good in like sort of like electronic or IT environments.
Friendly.
Yeah, and the company is called DataVac, and basically they make various sizes of these different like styles of basically vacuums, and they have basically it's a handheld blower, so it's basically a blower motor with a nozzle attached to it. And I primarily got it to blow up my computer because, having a really nice PC, you should probably keep it clean.
Maintain.
Heat will wear down the silicon and things like that. So if you want to get the most out of your computer, it's best to keep it clean. But at the same time, once in a while, you got to stand a couple feet back because I actually got a pretty good amount of power. But, just kind of blowing through the game shelves. Like I dust my shelves quite often, but, getting those nooks and crannies helps.
Oh, yeah. You got to do that with the consoles, too. They'll.
Yes.
I remember one time my buddy just gave me an Xbox 360 because he's like, it's got the red ring, man, but it's weird. It'll play for a while, then it red rings.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yeah, I'll look at it. And I opened it up. It looked like he had knit a sweater inside of it.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure he just had it like sitting on carpet or something, which is the absolute worst thing to do with anything that has a fan, as most people know. Yeah. And he didn't want it back. He'd already bought another 360. He goes, well, do what you can if you need it for parts, because he knows I like to take things apart and play around with them. But I don't like to fix things for people until they're like basically a lost cause in their eyes. So then if I break it or something, they're not like, oh, you wrecked it, you owe me another one. They're just like, whatever, man.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I love when it's at whatever man stage.
Yeah.
I was able to fix a friend's PS4, but I was like, he was already like looking at getting another one. I fixed it for him and saved him the money. He gave me some games for it, so we'll call that even.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm definitely not the best tech guy, but I'm pretty good at figuring stuff out, even if I don't know that much about it. So it's kind of fun. Yeah. It's just a fun hobby to have. I like to rip shit apart and see how it works.
Sure. So then I think with that said here, I guess we're kind of wrapping things up. So as per usual, I will let everybody listening know how they can get a hold of us.
Get at me.
Get at me, bro. If you are listening to this on SoundCloud and you look to your right, there will be links to our channels, our Facebooks, our Twitters. I'm going to leave Sir Flynn's information up there too, and I do need to add Corpse Flood's information to SoundCloud. or if you're listening to us on YouTube, I will put links in the description. Of course, you can look us up on YouTube. Of course, myself as The Game Grinder, or Corpse Flood Gaming, Surflin1, as well as Corpse Flood Gaming and The Game Grinder on Facebook, and The Game Grinder, or at _Game Grinder, or at Surflin1 on Twitter.
Make an evening of it. Check out all our stuff.
Check out all of our stuff. Subscribe to everything. Let us know how we're doing.
Comment on every single video.
Please, at once.
And then go about your day.
Yes. But, of course, as always, we appreciate support. Any and all feedback is appreciated.
Absolutely.
Of course, again, I really want to encourage everybody to, send some love to Surflin1, or at least in his direction. Because, again, I greatly appreciate everything he's contributed to the podcast and just being a great friend. Because, as we always say, if it wasn't for the podcast, there's a good chance that we'd be having a lot of these sorts of conversations regardless. And, why not do a podcast about it? And now, basically, myself and Corpse Flood are doing the exact same thing.
As a long-time listener, I'm going to definitely miss him here, but he's welcome back anytime, and I'm looking forward still to getting to talk with him on the podcast rather than kind of in between.
Right. And yeah, he will definitely be back probably sooner than later.
Definitely want to hear his views on the new Call of Duty and stuff like that, because I know that's something he'll be very passionate about.
So, and then one thought that I wanted to throw out to any listeners, especially anybody who's been listening for a while, even though it's not a huge change, just kind of, even with Surflin1 kind of stepping down and Corpse Flood stepping in, kind of looking for suggestions for kind of format ideas, any kind of segments you'd like to see, any segments that you don't like us doing, just let us know your thoughts, because it's ultimately we want to make this an enjoyable podcast, and
we do this for you.
Yes, absolutely. The blood, sweat, and tears is for your enjoyment. So
I got mostly sweaty tears.
Right. So I guess with that said, then that will do it for this episode of the Game Tenants Podcast. Of course, as always, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Catch you next time, guys. Have a good one.
Good night.